Greetings, this is Klew from Klews Gallery and klewexpressions.com. Today I'd like to show you how I use the niobium blank wires to customize my earrings. So to start with, we take the niobium blank and add a 4mm bead to the straight part of the shaft. Slide it all the way down to the bend and then pick up your round nose pliers and pinching it about 3/8 of an inch from the tip with none of the niobium wire sticking out. So you curl down and you form the loop, and then change out your pliers with your chain nose pliers and insert the tip just into the opening of the loop, the back end of the loop, not the open end of the loop. And then grip it really hard, and then kink it back a little bit to center the loop. And before you close it, you add one link, the very end link of your piece of chain, and then close the loop. All right. So repeat that to your other one, and then set those aside and get the rest of your kit ready. I'm going to show you a few variations of ear wires, earrings, and you can add as many crystals as you'd like. So let's get started. All right, so lay out your pieces. I've already done one earring here, and the second piece here, I've got everything laid out, my leaves in the order in which I want to put them on. And then with 24 gauge wire, I'm going to use a bigger round nose plier and grip it pretty far down so I can make a nice size loop. And this loop is what you're going to feed the leaf onto. And by having a large enough loop, the leaf will dangle nicely. And you trim off about 1 inch. Go ahead and feed the leaf onto the loop. I was just showing you the flesh cutters. It's nice to use flesh cutters so that they don't leave a burr on the end of your wire. So in my kits, my leaves come already shaped and drilled, and you'll feed that loop on and leave a nice big hole. And then with your narrow chain nose pliers, you're going to do a slight bend up, and then you take your round nose pliers and make a tiny little loop. And this is going to be the loop that feeds onto the link of the chain. See that? So not only is it going to feed onto the link of the chain, then when you change hands with your pliers, you're going to put your round nose pliers in your left hand. First you'll grab onto the loop. Grab just right across the loop with the tail end sticking out, and then give that over to your less dominant hand. And with your dominant hand, you're going to take your chain nose pliers. Let's get it situated here a little bit. There we go. And then you're going to wrap and pivot your tool around as you go. And you're going to make 3 wraps. You're going to wrap from left to right. It's a little hard to see, but see that little tiny little piece there? I'm going to take with the tip of my pliers. Get that leaf out of the way. Just bend it over so it doesn't snag. And then trim it off. Now the excess piece that's sticking out of the top is also going to get bent down and trimmed off. This way it doesn't pull through the coil that we just made. See this little end piece here? If you bend it down, it gives the wire a little bit of a memory. And you take your tip of your pliers and very carefully just give it a little squeeze. I remember I used to take, with this long piece, I used to curl it up and make a loop, like a coil as a decorative element, but I stopped doing that a while ago. But you could try it if you like. Anyway, just feel it, as long as it's not snagging you, and if the the directionality of the leaf is as you please, then leave it. And if it's not, you'll just kind of, let's get a grip of this. Get a grip already. Let's kind of look and see the orientation of the chain. This one needs to go a little bit, tweak a little bit. There we go. Notice I used my chain nose and I just held across both wires and gave it a little turn. So I'm going to pick up the next leaf, feed it through the hole. Sometimes you have to open the loop a little bit and then close it back with your fingers. And then on the longer piece, we're going to make the tiny loop with your tiny round nose pliers. Oops, I forgot to make an angle on the other one. Here we go. All right, so make a little tiny loop, bring it around, remove your pliers, get the other earring so you can see exactly where you count the links, and so you can put it in exactly the same spot. There we go. I'm leaving the little links to add the crystals. All right, click it in place. Get in there. All right. So with my tiny little round nose pliers, I'm going to hold across the loop. I'm not putting the pliers into the loop. I'm just holding across it. And then with my dominant hand, I'm winding the wire. Notice I'm not holding too close and I'm not holding too far. So I'm rotating my pliers around 3 times. Come in with your flush cutter, give it a little snip, get that leaf out of the way. And then we're going to, excuse me, come in with the other plier and pinch that down just ever so gently. Sometimes it's only 24 gauge wire, so sometimes the loop gets a little wonky and you might have to futz with it just a little bit here. Let's see. There we go. Nope. Ever so carefully, because you don't want to grab it too tight, as you can snip that snip that wire right into oblivion. And that would not be good, because then you have to cut it off and start over. That's not good. Okay, going in with my chain nose. I know it's hard for you to see, but I got to get in there nice and tight. Pinch it down so there's nothing poking out, nothing grabbing. Set it down and repeat with the next leaf. Now on the links, you also you want to, when you wire your leaf onto it, you'll just make note of what part of the link you're wiring onto, so then you can do the opposite on the other earring. Check it for its dangleability. Yeah, that's a technical term. All right, my handy dandy. These are Lindstrom tools that I've had forever and a day, but the high-tech pliers that we carry now on the website are perfectly fine for this. And they're a lot more affordable than Lindstrom's. I think I paid quite a bit. I don't know, $50 or $60 a pair for Lindstrom's. But in the beginning of the video, when I did the ear wires, I have some high-tech pliers, and those are, I think, $21 a pair for the set. So, much more affordable. All right, so I'm coming in here with the chain nose pliers again, and I'm getting my bigger round pliers just to make that loop a little bit more roundy. I pulled on it too much. I don't know my own strength sometimes. All right, so let's see. Where was I? Okay. Sometimes I forget where I'm at. There we go. Especially when you start getting all these bits and pieces in the way. It's kind of hard to do it and then show you at the same time. And so tilt that back so you can see. And then with your dominant hand and your chain nose pliers, you're going to wrap. You're going to wrap. That loop's going to go from left to right. So from the tool towards the leaf. And you wrap it 3 times. I try to stop it right at the apex of the larger loop, so I can tuck that wire down in between that one little spot right there. That way you don't feel it snagging. There, that's better. Okay. Like I said, if you get the wire out of whack, sometimes you have to go back in and tweak it a little bit. So now this other little piece, I'm just kind of folding it down, And the reason I fold it down is because it gives a little bend in the tip of that wire, and that way it doesn't slide through the coil and come apart. There we go. Okay, so now all the 3 leaves are in place, and I'm going to check them. Now it's time to add the crystals. Let me get my other wire. Let's get myself situated here. Again, I'm still using 24 gauge wire. Instead of using head pins, I'm using my chain nose pliers, and I'm just barely going to take the little tip, the tip of the pliers and the tip of the wire, just grab it nice and firm and bend it with a hard bend. And you make a little tiny little hook or a bend at the end. See that? I know, it's hard to see, but it's there. Pick up your crystal, and with your round nose pliers, you're going to just curl it down, bring the wire around until it touches, and then snip off and leave yourself about 3/4 of an inch. And repeat that with the rest of the crystals. Come here. Pick up all my little trash pieces. Got to make it nice and pretty for you guys. So this is a new kit done with the triple leaf. I have kits currently with single leaves and a leaf drop chain, which is a soldered chain that has leaves, 2 leaves on every, metal leaves on every link. But this is just an open link chain. All right, so now I'm going to check against my other earring and hold it sideways and get everything so you can see where the crystals are and which one and what order and all that kind of stuff. So that way they match. Okay, that makes it easier to lay it out like that. See? So I've got 4 crystals. Starting, this is a fire opal satin, which Swarovski doesn't make anymore, sadly. But it's one of my favorite colors. This particular one, I did an extra wrap, and I had a big piece of wire, so now I'm going to go into the link that's in this tiny link that's in between the diamond links. So let's feed it in there. Get it all the way into, you can kind of hear it click into place, and hold across the loop with your round nose pliers. Give it over to your non-dominant hand. I happen to be right-handed, so obviously. And then pivot and wrap until it stops. Trim it off. Oh, wait. I was going to wrap this around. My bad. Okay. So I'm going to continue. Oops. Get a grip, Klew, for Pete's sakes. Okay. So this little piece right here is going to wrap right around, and it's going to, you have to kind of futz with it a little bit and steer it around the tip of that little hook that we made when we made our old head pin. And you go in there and trim it, test it to make sure there's no snagging part. Look at that. Isn't that cute? You could do that to each one, but I'm not sure if I supplied enough wire in the kit. My bad. I usually supply a little extra for boo-boos, but anyway, it's 24 gauge wire. So if you want to make your own, you can probably cut about 1.25 inches, depending on the crystal size. 1.5 inches if it's a 6 millimeter crystal. You can always, to my kits, you can always add your own size crystals on there too. Now see how I'm positioning and letting go on my tool, winding. This one's not long enough, so I'm going to cut this one off. Okay. That's why flush cutters are so great. A flush cutter doesn't have a bezel or a beveled edge, and you can get up there nice, close and personal. Let's get my stuff out of the way here. Okay, now the next spot, let's see. Where is it? Right there. No, there. Okay, so you feed it on, And you'll hear a click. It kind of clicks in place when you get the link popped into that little loop that you've made. Go in with your tool, hold across the loop like that. See? Okay. Give the pliers over to your other hand and pull and turn. Oops. Pull and turn. I advise using a tool rather than, even though it's a light gauge wire, you really need to use your tools to get a nice tight wrap. You have a lot more control over what's going where. Test it, make sure there's no snaggy parts. And the last one, you know what? And it's going to go right into the loop of the earring, so it hangs there with the leaf. All right. Okay, hold on to that. Get the tail going in the right direction. And pull and turn. Like I said, you pivot your tool so you're not wrapping the wire around the end of your tool. And then go in with your flesh cutters and give it a little snip. Careful not to cut the main part of your wire. And voila. So now we're going to just clean up this mess a little bit and check them out against each other. Let's say, oh, let's see. I want this one to go that way. So that's it. Thank you so much. Alrighty. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe, share with a friend, and stop by and see me on my website, www.klewexpressions.com, Klew Art Beads, or Klew's D-Stash and Delights in Facebook. Ciao, Bella.